Drawing Breath is a series of interviews with humans telling interesting stories. If you would like to support this channel, please interact with the social media platform that you're using. And now, Michael Lagocki tells a story about a bidding war over a Brian Stelfreeze painting on wood that was done for charity.
Brian has a painting technique that's very singularly his and doesn't really look like anyone else in comics. So he's easy to stand out. But anyway, I was doing a con, and Bob Lagocki of Head Press. Bob was always doing something cool, and at this particular point, he did a couple shows for the Wounded Warrior Project, where he would, hit up a Comic-Con and probably do the con himself as Head Press or as Bob the artist. But then, he would organize like a live art thing, try to get some people to show up and do a live art show where all the pieces would be auctioned off to benefit the Wounded Warrior Project. So he did one of these. And of course, I definitely wanted to be part of it. And I brought out a couple artists too. A couple people from Art Love Magic and all that kind of stuff. And so we all did artwork for the Wounded Warrior Project. And Brian Stelfreeze was one of the artists. And he did this beautiful Black Widow that I ended up buying. It was a neat circumstance too, because Stelfreeze was asked to do the thing, and he's like, well, I don't really have any. I got my paints, but I don't really have any paper or whatever. And my friend David Rodriguez, who painted on wood, immediately stepped up and was like, well, I got some wood. You want to come do it? You want to paint on wood? And Stelfreeze was, I think, kind of like, into the idea. So he said, sure. David went out to the car, got him a piece of wood, a big piece of wood. It was like, I don't know, 2 feet wide by maybe like 4.5 feet tall. It was pretty big. And sure enough, Brian Stelfreeze just painted the hell out of it. Painted a beautiful Black Widow. And, it was an auction, and some pieces were going for pretty good and some pieces weren't. And I kind of wanted the Stelfreeze piece. So I opened up bidding rather high. I remember I had brought in the auctioneer. It was my friend Scott from Fanboy Radio. And Scott, I had seen him doing an auction before, and he was good at it. So that's why he became the auctioneer. I told Bob this would be a good guy to hire, or not hire, but to ask to auctioneer the thing. And he did. He did a great job. And so anyway, okay, so here was the funny thing. There was a funny story too that happened I saw Bob and Stelfreeze get into it a little bit, and it was interesting. Stelfreeze had finished the painting, and he goes and gives it to Bob, and the auction had just started at this point. And Stelfreeze is like, here, it's done, and gives the painting to Bob and everything like that. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's freaking gorgeous. And Bob says, great, hang out a little bit. And, we're about to auction the piece off. And Stelfreeze goes, no, I'm not going to hang out. I'm going to go back to the hotel room. Blah, 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 blah. I want to go back. And I think it was just like an artist thing. Like he didn't want to be there when it was auctioned off. And Bob was like a little bit stunned because Bob's coming from the point of view of the charity. And says to Stelfreeze, well, like if you hang out just a minute, we're going to auction it off here next. And it's going to get a lot more money if you're standing there than if you're not. And Stelfreeze did not like that he was feeling pressured. So he says to Bob, he's like, hey, I did the drawing. I did the painting. I'm giving it to you. You got what you asked for, right? Like he told him. And it's like Bob handled it pretty classy. He's like, okay, all right. But Bob was right. It would have gotten a lot more money if Stelfreeze was standing there. Fortunately I got it, and I got it at I thought pretty decent rate. I let Scott know beforehand that, I was bidding on it, and I waited till it got up to like somebody not being sure that they wanted to actually pay for it. Like somebody was winning the auction, and like then they'd bet X amount, and then it looked like they were going to get it. This was my strategy. And the guy, I could tell the guy was a little bit unsure. So I waited and waited, going once, going twice, going three times. And then right at then, that's when I went up another whatever, $50 or whatever. And I could almost feel the guy was like, oh, whew, I didn't spend that money. So that's how I ended up getting it. And I just sold it in the last like year or something. It hung around with me and was on my wall for years and years and years. But yeah, so Stelfreeze did this beautiful, and his colors are just so recognizable the way I mean, I'm trying to mimic the shape a little bit, but the real joy in Stelfreeze paintings is the colors, not the shape. And he's just such a brilliant, picking colors and stuff like that. I always think he should be doing a lot more cover work for Marvel and DC. I think they're missing out by not hiring him because he doesn't look like anybody else in the industry. And Stelfreeze has done a number of great projects, and a lot of them people haven't really paid as much attention to as they should. Like he did a great book called Daymen that was about like the people vampires hire to guard them during the day, during sunlight hours. And it was pretty cool. And he's just done a lot of good things over time. He did a great Catwoman story, and I don't know, he's a cool artist. I definitely like him a lot, and still, I'm always excited when he's working on a project. But yeah, it was a good show, and I remember my friend Lawrence had the big winner of the show. Bob did like a Stan Lee piece that he got Stan to sign, but my friend Lawrence did a Captain America, like standing against Black and holding a shield, and it just took off and like got into a bidding war between a couple people, and it was the big winner of the night. And, that made Lawrence feel great that he got the most money for the charity. At the time, he hadn't been painting that long. Now he's turned it into a full career, but at the time he was just kind of starting out. That was Lawrence Alexander, and he did just a beautiful Captain America. It was crazy. But the Stelfreeze piece lived with me for a long time. I absolutely loved it. It got sold to a collector who also loved Stelfreeze, and it was really, really unique because where are you going to get a 4.5 foot tall Stelfreeze painted on wood? It's crazy. And the colors came out so beautiful and just was an excellent, excellent piece. And I was very lucky to have owned it for quite a while. But, and he's always a guy, you catch Stelfreeze at cons, he's always a guy that's like giving people drawing lessons and sharing stuff. But like I said, what's really amazing about him is he makes commissions that look like nobody else's.
Drawing Breath is a series of interviews with humans telling interesting stories. If you would like to support this channel, please interact with the social media platform that you're using.